welcome back to another special episode of But Why the Podcast, where today you get to hear my interview with Dennis Lui, the creator of both Raising Dion and LING. Enjoy!
Hello!
Hi, Dennis!
Hey, how's it going? I'm
super excited to talk to you. I'm actually halfway through Raising Dion, and I'm in love.
Oh,
so...
what episode are you on?
I'm on episode 3, or 4.
Oh, okay.
4. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and that's what the rest of my night looks like after I get off here.
Oh, fun. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming to you. So, I did episode 6, so I directed episode 6, so definitely stay around for that.
Awesome. That's great to know.
Yeah.
You're the creator of Raising Dion and the new comic LING.
Yeah, thanks.
And I got to watch the LING short, the 3-minute video, and I'm in love.
Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful. It's different. What sparked the project?
You know, I've been working on Raising Dion, which was initially started to help with diversity, both in front of and behind the camera. And that project had been going on for like 4 or 5 years, a really long time. And, I started to think, wow, it'd be really cool to try to do something in the Asian American space, since, Shang-Chi doesn't come out for like another 2 years. And, it'd be great to do something a little sooner that we can at least get some images and like a little bit of story for people, because, it's quite a long time. So that's sort of what started the project, and I just got a bunch of friends and my awesome wife Marie to come together and help out on the weekends while we were working on Dion. So it was kind of a fun little side project.
And so one of the things that I really like about Raising Dion, and I like in the short I saw in LING, is these are different superhero stories. Like these aren't superhero stories that we're necessarily used to. How do you start conceptualizing these ideas? Are you like actively pushing against stuff that we've seen before, or do you just kind of let it flow?
Right. So I think what's cool about LING is that we started the design of that character with, okay, first of all, we don't want to do just some shoehorned superhero that just happens to be Asian. That was the first rule. So we decided we needed to look at how we can organically create a character and give her abilities that complement sort of the overall Asian experience, with regard to knowing that, there are a lot of different ethnicities among that broader umbrella, right? Mm-hmm. So one thought we had was immediately the idea of how Asian Americans have to assimilate, and that's something that's been both really good and bad in our historical experience in particularly California and New York, right? So, so an early idea that kept going through the storyline was, what if she has the ability to change her identity? And Asian American experience has always been a lot about that. So that was like something that was early and organic to the project. And then we looked at, the common stereotypes of the over-sexualization of Asian women in cinema. So we immediately were like, okay, that's something we just want to address like early on. We want a really cool, strong male love interest for LING. So we had a couple things that we did so-called checkmark boxes for, but at the same time, we it's not like we try to make a laundry list. It still has to be organic to like reality, but push the limits with regards to the storytelling. So I guess with creating a character like LING, that was how we organically designed it, because we didn't want to just fall into common tropes of martial arts or just things that were already been explored and maybe fetishized even. example,
Yeah.
that just seemed done already and less insightful with regards to the, Asian American experience that teens can experience and relate to. So yeah.
One of the things I got while watching the trailer is because I'm a huge fan of magical girl anime.
Right.
And so when I started watching, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting these feels from that. What was was that the intention or?
Yeah. So that was right. We first talked about the okay, how do we make this relevant to the Asian American experience? And then one of the other puns that we came out of this was like, okay, well, she can be whichever girl she wants to be, right? That became like an early sort of tagline for us, because it's empowering. You don't want to be pigeonholed in a box of who you are, and that then was like, okay, well, why don't we do maybe it could be a witch project, and then I think from there I was like, well, why are witch projects like Sabrina and Charmed? They're always like a westernized gothic witch. So like, why don't we go to, if we're going to do an Asian American or Asian superhero piece, why don't we try an Eastern witch? And what does that look like? And then if you go back to like Kiki and Sally the Witch, the magical girl genre, right, in Japanese anime, you'll find all sorts of fun stuff that has been explored in that sort of realm. So we're like, okay, well, how about we ground that and make that more relatable and live action and more badass, I suppose. Given that, it's needed a little bit of an update in certain areas, that genre. And so that's kind of part of the inspiration of that part. And when we came up with Kitsy, who teleports into her washing machine, that's kind of a callback to the trope of the familiar character in that genre, right? But what's fun is, again, we're always trying to do something that's relatable but still fresh. And we realized initially Kitsy was going to be 3D modeled and kind of like the Pokemon movie, like super photoreal. We modeled him and we got pretty far, and then it was like, well, this is going to take us a long time. So, and we didn't have the resources for it. So we were like, well, what if we explored how use these creative and budgetary limitations, like, and use it to our advantage. So we went 2D anime, which I think is super cool because no one's really done a hybrid live action anime format before. And since we were doing a callback to this genre that you're talking about, an homage to it and our modernized version of it, it seemed like a really cool hybrid and a fresh look, right? Because there's 500 scripted television shows out there.
Yeah.
And with no end in sight. So we hope someone like you, who's well versed in media, can be like, oh, okay, I see what these people are doing. This is kind of interesting. I wonder how they're going to blend this aesthetic. To make this something new. So it's not only the storyline, the diverse aspects of it, but we're also making cinema. So we're looking for a newer rather. I mean, a lot of it is coming from the greats of the past. But putting a spin on it. And I think that's the goal of any sort of work of art.
Yeah, and the 2D anime character, he adds so much. Like it gives it somehow feels more like adding the 2D animation somehow makes it feel even more alive in a weird way, even though it's just animation. And was that Randall Park's voice?
It is. Yeah. So I mean, that's another great story. I'll quickly tell two. The first is about when I was Airbnb-ing in California, and there's this cat named Mitzi, actually, and it was just amazing to see how determined this cat was, and how he moved, which was just so interesting and courageous, this cat. So it's kind of what makes that kind of fun and something we haven't seen before. So I'm excited if we ever keep going with this, and I hope we do, that people can really see what it's like with an animal who walks like that, because I think that sort of thing hasn't been shown a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes with the mythology of that Kitsy's from the world of misfits, which is an imperfect world. And I think one of the things that Asian Americans deal with is the mono-minority trope, right?
Yeah.
Or not, rather not trope, it's more of like an issue. And one of Ling's sort of struggles is that she tries to be perfect and to live up to these sort of expectations. And Kitsy being imperfect, like Ling's birthmarks, are a power. It's something really good and positive, and we're embracing that. That Ling isn't, she's not a super polished pro person with straight A's and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's built in with the mythology. So anyway, that's why Kitsy is who he is. Ling looks like who she looks like, and of course, to the Randall part, he's really a funny, curmudgeon-y kind of character, and we really wanted to find someone who had that hilarious spirit, and we just put it out there. We were just telling all of our friends, and one thing led to the next, and word got to Randall, and he's like, yeah, I would totally love to help out and just come in and record. And I think at the time he was shooting Always Be My Maybe and super busy, and he just came down to help. I think he's one of our community's great leaders in giving back and helping other Asian American artists rise, and I can't say enough great things about him.
That's awesome.
And it's good to build a team that at least keeps that in mind a little bit with regards to these projects. And I think Raising Dion did, one of the most proud things of Dion, I think a lot of the producers have, is how well diversified and inclusive the whole show is, from the writers, directors, down to the very last PA.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a forced sort of thing, but it was definitely something we always kept in mind, which I think is reflected in the crew and the work. So that's that part of the story.
I never knew that I needed to have Randall Park voice a cat. And now I want so much more of it.
I think it's not. It doesn't take a ton of time to come in and do a voiceover, but he even came twice, which was really great.
That's amazing.
I needed to pick up a couple lines, and I felt really bad. I'm like, dude, this is crazy, and you're just doing this on your feet. But would you mind coming and say a couple more lines? And he's like, sure, not at all. Just let me know where and when. And it's left a really strong impression on me, and I hope to anyone else who's listening or reading this, that it's really important to go back and reach to the next generation. And what I love about both Ling and Dion is you see people. We're getting a lot of artwork, which is kind of awesome, of Dion, and a lot from like younger kids. And that's great, because they can finally see themselves, and that's something that I don't think I really had
Yeah.
I hope Ling has that same sort of impact as Dion does, and just hopefully go from there.
And was that always something you wanted to do? Because, I mean, focusing, especially in, like, the current world of superheroes, right? Like, they're almost all fully grown adults. Like, focusing on a younger generation, you know, a kid with Dion and a teen with Ling was, you know, hitting that audience and showing that audience representation the main idea with their ages?
You know, it sort of ended up that way, weirdly. I don't think it was as much of a conscious decision, but now that we're seeing the results of Dion only a week after we premiered, I think it's definitely a really cool byproduct of what we set out to do. I mean, the real hero I always love to say is actually Nicole to me.
Yeah.
The great spin on Dion is she has no powers, but without her guidance, Dion could turn into a bunch of different things. And I think that's kind of the greatest irony of the project is she has the ultimate control, and no matter how promising Dion can be, she really has to be at her best in a lot of situations, so that he has the moral ground to make the right decisions in the future. Yeah. Which is why this thing could be so cool as he gets older. Because things that you are left with emotionally as a kid, you bring into, I feel, in some cases, your adult life.
Yeah.
And it's like melding clay, you know?
Yeah.
And we're seeing it happen right up close and personal. And it's funny where art imitates life, too, because we would feel like we need to be really good to Josiah on set, you know? Like, really keep his expectations grounded, and, like, you know, this is going to be a show, but, you know, you really have to say this is a team effort, and which he was, I think, inherently, he had it, a really warm spirit and good heart in him, so, you know, that's one of the greatest discussions is nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
How much of it is Nicole, how much of it is inherent, and hopefully people have really thoughtful discussions on that. So.
Yeah. One of my last questions is, you've spoken a lot when you talk about Ling and when you talk about representation, you know, saying Asian American and not honing in on a specific culture within that umbrella, but really focusing as kind of like, I guess, like a pan-Asian. I am Mexican American myself, so we, you know, sometimes we get kind of like that same thing. There's a lot of us under the Latino brand. So what was the choice? What was the choice like to choose Asian American versus honing in on one specific culture?
Well, Ling is specifically, I guess, Chinese American in the comic. What is really cool is, yes, I believe this is a challenging thing, right? Because if you're Vietnamese American, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't for me. Like, this is kind of speaking to my experience, but not exactly, right?
Yeah.
And of course, specifically in the Asian American media community, Southeast Asians are probably least represented, from what I understand. So this is where it becomes fun to try to, again, build an ability with Ling that we can address some of this. So, for instance, in a body switch sort of thing, we can probably tackle some of that. If we future issues or whatnot.
Yeah.
But again, you're trying not to paint by numbers, so that's challenging. And I think it's important to figure out how to integrate, you know, inclusion for everybody. It's something I think about a lot. What's lovely in the school space is you can have a multitude of different students, right? Yeah. So they can transfer in and out
Yeah.
over time in story. So I think that's a good revolving door of ways we can integrate other ethnicities under that big umbrella that you were speaking about.
Yeah.
Into this story of Ling. I mean, I guess I'm Taiwanese American and Marie is Japanese.
Yeah.
So maybe that felt a little more relatable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I love about Raising Dion is I'm Taiwanese American, yet it's an African American show, and I'm not a woman. I think it's important that we don't fall into tribalism.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time, realize that it's important that everyone should feel like they have a voice to tell their own story.
Yeah.
So I think that's something really important moving forward. That we can still try to tell a human story with good research and good empathy.
Yeah.
And I think only then we'll have truer equality.
Yeah.
But for now, I think it's really empowering and important that people feel like they should tell their own stories specifically.
Yeah.
I'm just looking further down the road and wondering how that may affect storytelling in the future, which may or may not be good. And I hope everyone keeps thinking with an open mind and not just being like an armchair sort of commenter without thinking how complex this whole issue is of representation.
Yeah.
So.
I completely agree. So for those of out there, so for everyone listening, where can they read Ling?
So Ling is on our website. It's www.lingthecomic.com. And the short online with Randall and all of us crazy people is online for free on YouTube. Just type in Ling superhero or Asian American superhero. There aren't that many, so it's not going to be hard to find. I just hope we can spread the word, and particularly with those teenagers or young adults that feel like they'd love a character that's kind of looks like them, that might go through what they're going through. I hope this is something that they can look at and be like, okay, someone was thinking about us when we were making this. So
yeah, awesome.
So yeah, check it out.
Yeah. Well, I hope we get to see more of Ling in live action form. That short definitely hooked me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
No, not a problem. I mean, I watched the short and right away I was like, oh my god, I need to set this up. Sorry it took so long. I've had a crazy week. But honestly, it was that broom design. It's so unique. Yes, it's so good. It's so unique and different, and it has that wonder in it. I love that.
Yeah, Angie had to train for 3 months to swing that thing around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's not like, you can't just start swinging a big stick around and look cool with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
The end of it is weighted, so it wasn't even like a regular bow staff. One end was much heavier, so the inertia was a lot different. I don't know, that's just, when you get in the weeds of it. But,
so you
was it Chloe Kim, actually.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
She kind of surfs on it versus like right in between her legs.
Yeah, that was a really cool detail. I can't talk today.
Yeah.
So you used, was it both practical and CG?
Yeah, it's a really, I mean, I don't think people really would notice this, but it is, if you think about it, there's 2D animation and practical 3D visual effects.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of it all together, so it's, but people have really good eyes these days, so they're just like, whatever, that's not that hard. Because company throws millions of dollars at their visual effects, so it's hard to keep up, but there's a lot of good tools out there for anyone who wants to try to make their own thing.
Yeah.
Just need a lot of time and passion, I guess, to do it, the work, so.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Dennis. This was great.
Yeah, thanks for the chat, and I really hope you guys continue to do well and everything.